There are 332 million users on LinkedIn. How is your profile standing out? Mshauri careers, hanging with them now.
Thank you for joining us today. My name is Lily, but you can call me Elle.
I'm Madoni, you can call me M.
And today we'll be jamming on everything LinkedIn, talking about how to make your profile more attractive.
And for that, we will need a laptop. So let's talk about the photo, which is the first thing someone sees when they visit your LinkedIn profile.
Absolutely. And when we're talking about photos, there are two elements to it. You have your main profile picture, and then you have the backdrop that's behind it.
Yes.
And there are some key do's and don'ts for both. Let's start maybe with the profile and
Yes.
some of the key do's there.
Yeah.
Make sure that your photo is professional once. So if you can go to a studio, have it taken by a professional, make sure the resolution is good.
Really high, very clear.
Yes, and I tend to find also make sure that the background is professional, so it doesn't look like it was a selfie, it was taken
No
in your
selfie
car.
at the beach, you in a vest, or it's just some funny looking thing. That's a photo for Facebook or Instagram. Let's talk about the cover photo.
So the cover photo is interesting. It's important to have a cover photo, but it's important that it doesn't overwhelm your current photo. So what I mean by that is make sure it's not too busy. It doesn't have so many moving parts, because if it overwhelms your profile picture, then it diminishes the purpose of having a profile picture.
There are platforms that provide free photos, like Pexel is a really good place where you can search for photos that embody some of your hobbies or interesting backdrops, abstract shapes, and something that matches the color of your profile picture, so that it just coordinates, the colors just match.
Immediately after your photo, you have your name, and your name is absolutely key. Some of the key mistakes we see, Mudoni, as you use a big pet peeve is the
capital small letter mix. Some people start their names with a small letter. That's a no-no.
And make sure that also that you use your, I don't want to, the government name or what?
Yes, your official name, not your
ID,
nickname.
Not your nickname. What would appear on your CV? So when
Brian Wakahawa.
Yeah, we don't need that.
No,
we don't need that.
Formal. Leave that for Facebook, Instagram,
Twitter,
TikTok,
all those
LinkedIn. Your official name. What is on your ID? Yes. We've covered your picture. It's great. Your name is well structured. Now it's the headline where you describe what you do. But there is a specific way you need to do this. Lily?
Yeah. So one of the key elements with your headline is have a title, and in your title put your role. So what you're currently doing.
Yeah. So you start with that. So if you're a marketing manager, you type that in. Yeah?
Yes. And then take it a step further.
Okay.
Put some key elements of your role. Okay. So for example, if you're a head of HR, then put some key elements that you do. For example, organization design, talent acquisition, change management, so on and so forth.
Yeah, and use those separate. I think it's called there's forward slash, backslash, and that one that stands up. You know what we mean? Yeah. Use that to separate these elements. And why are these elements important? When recruiters are searching for a marketing manager, they'll also add the skills they need. So it's marketing manager, comma, content design. Then it's more likely that your profile will be picked up by the search engine. So make sure those elements are there.
So let's jump into the meat of things, and that starts at the summary.
Summary or about.
Yes, or the about me page.
Yes.
And I usually have a rule when it comes to the about me page. Categorize it in 3 elements: past, present, and future. What I mean by that is, for example, say, hi, my name is Brian. I have 8 years of experience. I went to school here, there, and the other. That's past. What is Brian doing today? I'm currently marketing manager at X, Y, and Z, and this is what I do. And then future, what are your aspirations? I like to work with children, I like to mentor, and for me it's important that, moving forward, I am seen as a pillar in the community. And I think if you coin your summary in that way, it makes a very powerful impact.
Very personable, very memorable. And there are things though you have to keep in mind to avoid. Speaking in third person or typing it in third person, saying Brian is a marketing manager.
Doesn't make any sense. We are on your page.
It's you. Address.
I am
Brian. Yes, yes.
And a big pet peeve as well, always make sure you proofread, make sure your grammar is correct. And in a nutshell, if you have a punchy summary, as a recruiter, it makes me want to read your profile more.
After the summary comes your experience section, where in chronological order you describe the jobs you've done. And there is a rule of thumb on how to do this.
One, always have a small description of the organization you're working for. So don't assume people know what the company you do is about. And then right after the description, put key achievements. I find that a lot of the time people just copy paste their CV. The problem there is any marketing manager in this organization will have the same description as this person, so it doesn't really stand out. But if you put your key achievements, it shows your strength in that area. So I think if you do those few things chronologically in all the roles that you have, make it consistent. And if you use bullet points in one area, make sure it's bullet points in all. Sometimes I see a lot of people who use dashes there, bullet points, numbers.
Stars.
Yeah, and it looks messy.
Yeah.
It looks messy.
Yeah. Do you start sentences with I managed, I developed, or do you cut and say led this and this, managed these teams?
I think you should take ownership, because if it is an achievement, it is yours.
Okay.
If you grew sales by 200%,
I grew sales by 200%.
Own it.
Yes.
Because what happens is if you don't own it, it just looks like it was part of a job
powerful,
description.
yeah? When you say I. Okay. Right. So that covers experience. After work experience comes education, licenses and certifications, as well as your volunteer experience. Make sure you populate these sections and don't leave them out. Often we find people stop at work experience and leave it at that. Also, make sure the dates on these sections are accurate. Don't leave something ongoing forever. If you finished it, come back to your profile and tag a completion date.
One of the things people really undervalue when it comes to their LinkedIn profile is this segment called skills, which is extremely important. I know in the beginning we talked about in your headline putting 2 to 3 key elements that you do. But this in the skills section is where you can really build it up and put as many skills as possible. And the beauty of this is that you can have people endorse the skills. So for example, if you put marketing as a skill, you can have people you've worked with come and +1 you on the marketing. So as a recruiter, if I go to your page, feel confident that you know what, this individual is strong in marketing. So make sure that you populate your skills, make sure that you put as many skills as possible, but make sure that they are accurate and that they speak to what you actually do. The final aspect on your profile is recommendations, which is very key and very important. And it is important to know who to ask to do your recommendations, because it is important to have people who can speak to your skills and expertise. Because having someone giving you a very plain one-liner recommendation doesn't really add value. Someone needs to really speak to your accomplishments. Another thing you need to do is make sure that your recommendations are up to date. If you are mid-management and have had 6 years under your belt, but you only have a recommendation when you are an intern, that does not do you justice. And lastly, make sure you have a 360 approach when it comes to your recommendations.
So important, yeah.
And by a 360 approach, what do I mean? I mean have a peer, so someone you work closely to and work together, speaking about your skills. Have a superior, because a superior will talk about operational, how you're effective, how you're efficient.
Yes.
And also very importantly, which a lot of people don't like to do, if you manage someone,
Underneath.
make sure that you have a subordinate. And the reason I say that is because they speak to your management skills, they speak to how you coordinate, which is very, very important. And as a recruiter, are some of the soft skills that we look at.
You now have a great LinkedIn profile. On the next episode, we will be covering what you do with this profile to network and apply for jobs. Remember to follow us on all our social media pages. We are on LinkedIn, on Instagram and Facebook. Interact with us, ask us questions, like, share, and just let us know what more of this content that you would like us to do. Till next time.
Bye.
Were you recording?
Yes, yes.